Greater Good Radio. Connect, learn, heal, and grow.
In real estate, you want to kind of spread your risk and diversify and invest in and develop, maybe three or four or five different things at a time. This was such a huge pursuit for me that I decided to focus all my energy on just buying this property, which would later become Kukio, with my partner, Bill Getty. And I was fortunate enough through our mutual friend from Georgetown Law to meet Billy, and his family was, at that time, there was no billionaires, right? They were like one of the wealthiest families around. And I convinced Billy to be a partner with me. He was 90%, I was 10%. He put money in, I put my work in.
How did you convince him?
We met through his general counsel, who I knew from law school. And, Billy's going to be in town. Hey, BJ, going to meet Billy, great guy, wants to do real estate. So we became buddies and drinking buddies, and we would go golfing, and we got married around the same time. We had kids. Our kids are around the same ages. And so we just kind of got along. And at least my style, I quickly convert friendships, and I like to have friends that I do business with, Evan. It's really important for me because it's different now. But back then, I just didn't have a lot of time, and I couldn't see myself having sort of like, okay, here are my friends. And then separate from that, here's my business, and then here's my family. It all kind of melded together. And so Billy and I, for whatever reason, just hit it off. And I said, Billy, listen, I'm really ambitious. We're the same age. I think we're 26, 27. And I said, I really want to do something big. And I just feel like the timing could be right for me to do something here. And he goes, I got you. He goes, you go do it. You go find it. I'm going to support you financially, and we're going to do a 90-10 deal. And so he put the money in. I put my sweat in. I got 10% carried interest. And we went forward and did Kukio together. And we caught some lucky breaks. I was flying to Japan, Evan, by myself, and going to the long-term credit bank of Japan offices with 25-year-old kid, trying to purchase the mortgage that was secured by the property in the Big Island that would later become Kukio through a deed in lieu of foreclosure process. Luckily, I went to law school, so I learned some of this stuff. Long story short is I got lucky.
You flew by yourself?
Yeah, Billy didn't have an interest to go do that, the pursuit part. So I went, found the property, and then I went and flew back and forth to Japan to try and convince the bank that they didn't own the property, but they held the senior mortgage, Evan. And the way real estate works is if a loan's not being serviced, it's in default, basically, the bank has to go through a process where they work it out, okay? And since, I went to law school, kind of figured out some of this stuff. I took a lot of real estate law classes, and I figured out that if I bought the mortgage in Japan, I could do a deed in lieu of foreclosure and just trade the borrower his indebtedness for the fee simple rights in the property. This is all fancy legal language of saying I basically was trying to buy the bank's loan and then trade it for the property, which is now Kukio. And I caught some lucky breaks. I went up there, and Billy was nice enough to provide me with a letter signed by his father, who at the time was like the 16th or 17th wealthiest man in the country. And the letter basically said that BJ has the authority to bid up to $65 million to buy this mortgage. And he has my full faith and confidence to negotiate and get this done. And that letter, when I presented that to Long-Term Credit Bank of Japan, that was a real difference maker. Because up until then, I was just a pretty young kid out of law school that was talking big. But once I produced that letter that Billy got for me from Gordon, his father, it was a game changer. And it really took my career in a completely different path. Now, it's just a series of great breaks, right? And so I don't think I'd be as far along now if I didn't have that early big win. And more important than the win itself and the financial gain that I got, it was more the confidence that was instilled in me. And I tell people that, at that time, I think 50% of that confidence I had earned, right, through talent and hard work. But the other 50% was totally I did not earn that. It's just that because Kukio became so successful, it lined up with all of Silicon Valley, Woodside, all the wealth being created in Northern California as a result of tech. Those people ended up wanting to own real estate at Kukio. And because of the strong demand for that real estate, and I being a 10% partner, I became a multimillionaire really young.
If you resonate with Greater Good Radio, please join our community at www.greatergoodradio.com where you can get access to exclusive content and offerings. Hope to see you soon.